Welcome into NHL Tonight. First shift for Wednesday, December 11th, 2024. EJ Radic here alongside Dave Reed, back second time this week. So you've been joining us.
Back.
Nice to have you back. You got the vest. You're nice and warmed up here on a cold, rainy day.
Yeah, I left the umbrella outside. It is nasty.
Yeah.
East Coast, New York, New Jersey. It's just coming down in sheets today. So I'm happy to be inside working with each.
All right. Well,
talking hockey.
there we go. It was a lot of hockey last night. And speaking of which, we always do our parlay, and JD is our guy who does it. Did it yesterday, and unfortunately, now I get, I know it's difficult, but as we've talked about, Bruce Boudreau, the coach, he feels you need to win night after night at this, and so of course, I got a nasty note this morning from Bruce, of all people, and so I wanted to pass that information on to you because, it didn't work out last night. You had Sidney Crosby getting a point.
I'll ride with Sid.
Yeah, right.
Always going to ride with Sid.
Yeah. And I liked what you thought about the Minnesota-Utah game because Utah coming back from a trip, Minnesota had just lost the game, and, maybe they were revved up again. In the end, the Utah Hockey Club got it done. So, can't win them all.
No, I can't win them all. I agree with Bruce. I should want better for myself. That's why he's coached as many games in the NHL as he has. He's demanding. He's a motivator. So I'm going to try and keep working for the shifties out there.
You picked some slam dunks, JD.
That's how you win a parlay, reader.
Supposed to be slam dunks.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be, but you know what?
Yeah.
One of the slam dunks back rimmed on me.
That's right. Happens, reader.
It does.
It happens.
EJ, you know what else happens?
What happens?
We upload this very show to YouTube every single day as a podcast. It's audio only on YouTube. You can subscribe to that, listen to it in your car on a rainy drive home.
That's right.
Perhaps like today, reader, you're exactly right. It's nasty out. That's why I got no hat on today. My hat got soaked on my little sojourn to get lunch.
Yeah.
But yeah, we love our shifties that are liking, commenting, and subscribing on the podcast each and every day. Let's get this thing rolling. How about first things first?
Let's get first things first. Today, we had a lot of games last night, but we'll start with a good one at the Rock, the Devils and Leafs. And the Devils played great in this game, but it was Anthony Stolarz. Anthony Stolarz getting the job done. He stole this game, and then Austin Matthews there in overtime gets the game winner. And the Toronto Maple Leafs walk away with 2 points. Interesting night at the Rock, reader.
Yeah, you're going to need more than the cops at the Rock. You're going to need state troopers. That was a performance for the ages in front of family and friends, the local guy, Anthony Stolarz. I still don't understand how he doesn't get an assist on Matthews' game winner.
My son said the same thing. We're watching the game, and he goes, and Stolarz a Jersey guy, so we're always kind of rooting for Anthony. And I'm with you. He should have got an assist.
I watched that a few times, and I'm like, where does this puck go on the save? Here's your save.
Up in the air.
That's an assist.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
there
He kicks it out.
Yeah.
Come on, NHL. You've got to change that. Maybe they have. A couple hours ago, I checked on the stats.
Okay.
But that would be pretty cool. Not only does he shut things down against New Jersey, he gets the game-winning assist on Matthews' goal in OT in his home state. So great effort by the goaltender.
If you get a win, a goal, and an assist in New Jersey as a goalie, is that a Marty Brodeur hat trick?
That's got to be.
We haven't never seen
Marty
it.
would get the assist because
we've never seen it. You have to get a goal, an assist, and a win.
Yeah, that's
That's a lot to ask.
How do you not give him the assist? That's an assist. He kicked that out.
How about the goal though by Matthews? He got in so tight and he was able to get that puck up under the bar. I mean, really, really impressive.
Well, he dusts off the Rocket Richard trophies regularly. Yeah. That's why he is the best goal scorer in the game.
And he had a lot of chances in the game last
He did.
night. I watched the whole game. He had opportunities.
A bunch.
Yeah.
The puck was bouncing terribly for the Leafs, and I'm not defending the Leafs. They were not sharp whatsoever.
One shot on goal in the first period.
Much like the Devils in their last game against Colorado, the puck was bouncing off the Devils' stick in that game because they went through the second leg with 2 shots against Colorado in the 4-0 loss. They turned it around, and they just absolutely took it to the Leafs through this game, and the Leafs couldn't make a pass. They couldn't make a play, but they had a goaltender who absolutely stood in his head.
Yeah, Anthony Stolarz has been terrific for the Toronto Maple Leafs this year, spinning around, getting ready for this one, made all kinds of saves, and even on the tying goal, when the Leafs went down and scored the tire, there was a scramble in front where he had to make a couple of different saves. The puck went the other way, and the Leafs were able to score the tying goal. They end up winning in overtime. So congratulations to Anthony Stolarz. And I mentioned it earlier this year. Got to talk to him last year during the final, and he talked about being around Sergei Bobrovsky. And, Anthony he was a draft pick of the Flyers, chance there. He's kind of moved around a little bit, but he had a really good year in Florida last year. And he talked about just being around Bobrovsky and seeing the professionalism that Sergei brings to that job night after night after night. And Anthony has really taken his game up a notch this year. And with Joseph Woll, they have a dynamic duo there in Toronto.
Yeah, this is a nice board to be the number one on, 17.4. But he's just been that good. He's a big guy. He's very mobile, very flexible. And goaltenders, I always go back and you look at a goaltender like Timmy Thomas. Even you go back even farther for the, I'm not going to say you, but to some of the older folks out there. Like remember Johnny Bauer. Johnny Bauer came in and he was like in his 30s and he took off. He had two careers, one in the American League for 10 years, one in the National Hockey League for about 15 years. So goaltenders mature at different times. Tim Thomas played over in Europe, came back to the National Hockey League, came back to America. Leagues. He did play, and all of a sudden he became one of the best goaltenders in the National Hockey League, winning a cup for the Bruins. So goaltending is a position where once you get it all figured out, it could be when you're 20, it might be when you're 25, it might be when you're 30. And Anthony Stolarz, it's taken him some time, but he's done a great job of being a professional and learning from Sergei Bobrovsky. Like he said, he's there. When you have a guy like Sergei Bobrovsky who's such a hard worker and puts the time in practice, off the ice, on the ice, in the weight rooms, you learn. You watch and you learn. And for Anthony Stolarz, he has done that over his career. He learned from, I'm sure, many different partners that he's had and situations, and he is getting the opportunity to be the number one in Toronto, and he's running with it. He's been exceptional.
One of the really best, maybe the best free agent signing when you think about what they paid for him and what he's responded with. I would say this too, with him and Joseph Woll together, you can see there's a look. I mean, that's quite a bargain right there. These are some guys who have really come in and played well on reasonable contracts for sure. But I would say Stolarz hasn't had a year where he's played a ton of games, right? So that's the worry moving forward. I like the fact that him and Joseph Woll, I'd like to see them just play every other game. Because both Joseph Woll's had injury issues. Anthony Stolarz has never had a season where he's played 60 games. It's a nice duo. I like the way it's working. I think they should just keep rolling every other game.
I agree with you. If you've got two healthy goalies, Boston proved that you can do that.
Yeah.
And the fact that neither Woll or Stolarz have played more than 40 games.
Yeah, Stolarz, 28 games, the high in his NHL career. I think it's a single season.
But he'll hit that. He'll be hitting that by mid-January if he keeps this up. But he's playing so well. He is the number one in Toronto. You're playing that well. He deserves that opportunity to continue to go. Maybe start stretching it out as we get going, in through January, as we get closer to the Four Nations, when things really start to compress. And afterwards, that's maybe when they're going to do a little bit of game management and be pulling them back. But for now,
nice option to have both of them right now. Both playing really well. So that's the good news. And you're right. Neither one of them are going to be in the Four Nations. So unless something really changes here. So the good news is
that's a good break.
Two American kids will have a chance to have a little bit of a break and get ready for the stretch run. So it was good for the Leafs. Tough loss for the Devils last night, despite playing very well. I'm sure that, the Devils, the season has been interesting. They haven't been great at home, oddly enough. Even though they played well last night, they ended up losing a point.
They deserve more than what they got.
They deserved more last night.
They deserve more than what they got, and that's a tough one for the fans. But as a team, you take the positives out. There were a lot of really good things in that game. When you keep a team like Toronto, who is an offensive team, to one shot in the first period, and you absolutely dominate play for most of the game, you outskated the team. Your opposition, their net front was outstanding. I mean, Stolarz had traffic in front of him the whole game. Their power play was the one thing that they best in the league that didn't click. They could have used a power play goal, but they deserve better in the game. These games happen, and unfortunately, it comes off of a game that they lost 4-0
to Colorado
the game before at home. That's the frustrating part. It's you get 1 point in those two games when you felt you should get more, but. Long way to go.
Yeah, for sure. Also last night, the Colorado Avalanche in Pittsburgh against the Penguins. And Mikko Rantanen just keeps rolling along. A hat trick in this game. Big night for Rantanen. 5 points, in on 5 of the 6 goals. And, interesting time coming for Rantanen. You can see here their point leaders, McKinnon with 46, Rantanen with 42, Makar 36, and it drops off. But interesting times. Rantanen in the final year of his contract. Big high-end player. It's going to be a lot of money.
Fortunately, the cap's going up.
Yeah, fortunately.
It's going up.
But not signed to this point. Not signed yet. And July 1st, if he was unsigned, he would be an unrestricted free agent. So some challenges, I guess, for the management in Colorado to figure that out. I'm sure they're doing everything they can, but Rantanen's doing his part. Just like Mitch Marner in Toronto, he's doing his part.
He is.
He's putting up points.
And that's what the player's supposed to do. It's let's push the pace. The key to getting it done and get the extension or you can get the 8th year no matter what. But it's you want to get this done out of the way so as the season goes along, you hit the playoffs, everybody's not asking, oh boy, is he going to go UFA? Yeah. I cannot see Mikko Rantanen leaving the Colorado Avalanche. I mean, even if it's in the summer, even if he scores 70 goals, it's going to get done in Colorado.
Well, if he doesn't get the money he wants.
Well.
Then
but look at the team you're on. I mean, there's like how many players today are on in this situation when you have a chance to win?
Yeah.
You have a chance to win with this core group of players.
And they've won already.
And they have. And they've got, he's playing with some of the best players in the game. And it all, everybody's like, oh, is he going to get 13? Is he going to get 14? And I think you have to go, when they're going to sign him, it's going to be a percentage of the cap. And if it's Nathan MacKinnon was the MVP of the league last year.
Yeah, he's at 12.6.
So, but it's percentage of cap.
Yeah.
So if you're going to keep it, say he was just over 15% of the cap when he signed his deal.
That's
so
MacKinnon.
when he signed MacKinnon.
Yeah.
So if you want to say, all right, well, Mikko, you're going to be at if Nate's at 15.1 or 15.2, Mikko, you're going to be 15.1. It's not the highest paid player anymore. It's highest percentage of cap. And when you sign your deal, not when another player signs. So for MacKinnon, when he signed, he was the highest percentage of the cap. Rantanen can be highest percentage of the cap. He's going to be up around $13 million. But he's still going to be a lower percentage than Nate when he signed. So Nathan MacKinnon will still say, well, I'm still, I was still the highest paid player, even though you're not. You follow me on this? It's percentage of cap.
100%.
It's very interesting. In that regard, he's going to make probably in the 12, 13 million range.
Yeah.
Why leave?
All that makes sense. But at the end of the day, for the layman and for the family members of these guys and for the people themselves, guy makes more than me. Like if you're Nate MacKinnon and you look and Mikko Rantanen is making more, I'm not saying it's a big deal, Dave.
But you can't break your contract. Your contract is going to stretch out when his contract comes due and he's putting up numbers and he's the Hart Trophy again, then he can come in and say,
these are
absolutely.
all lovely words.
Yep.
And you're right. You make this percentage of the cap, completely buy in with that. But at the end of the day, he's making $1 more. And sometimes, as we've heard over the years, there are players who that does for whatever reason. I mean, you played in Boston, and Ray Bourque, forever was the standard. It's a different era. But if Ray made X, nobody was making more than X.
Well, that's every team has their own internal cap.
What I'm asking you is now with MacKinnon at 12.6, right? That's where he's at? 12.6, MacKinnon?
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay. 12.6?
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. There it is.
I'm not.
So he's 12.6. You think maybe there's a push from the Avalanche to say, we'll give you 12.5.
Would that be higher? He wants a higher percentage of the cap.
But the question is this.
So MacKinnon was 15.3% when he signed his deal.
I know that.
So you're not going to get more than 15.3% if you're Mikko Rantanen because he's the Hart Trophy winner. He's the MVP. Yeah. At time of signing, he's our standard. Yeah. So at 15.3, we're going to give you 15.1 or 2. It'll probably be more.
Okay.
Which the crazy thing is, a little bit more. 13 times 8 is, you're looking at like $100 million.
It's a lot of money.
You're looking at
It's a lot of money. So I'll be curious to see how it plays out there.
He's not going anywhere, but he will get a raise.
Let's face it, they all, in Colorado, they want to keep Mikko Rantanen, and I'm sure he likes it there. But, I always say the same thing with these things. Until it's done, it's not done. Because we've seen it.
You're right.
Steven Stamkos, he'll stay in Tampa. He's not leaving the Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but it wasn't his choice.
Well, that's my point. Is they may say to him, "Listen, 12.5 is
aren't saying, Mikko, no, we're going to replace you with someone else. You're going to replace him with? Don't replace him with anybody."
They might just say, like they said to Stamkos, they said, "Listen, we'll give you." It was a different negotiation. Steven is a little bit further in his career, but they hold the line. And Colorado might say, "Listen, we'll give you 12.5, but we're not giving you anything more than Nate." if that is the case, which we don't know,
yes,
but if that becomes the case, does it become a sticking point?
It's a good thing you're not an agent. I'm glad you're not an agent.
Yeah, I know.
You would be royal pain.
Well, I'm a royal pain anyway. I'm a royal pain anyway.
Great. It's like our guy wants more money. My guy wants more money.
All right, let's get to the Wednesday game schedule. We only have 2 games on the docket. We have the Rangers and Sabres, 7 o'clock on TNT. And then we have at 7:30 the Ducks and the Senators in Ottawa. Ducks have been playing pretty good on the road, so they're trying to stretch that out now. We'll see if they can do it in Ottawa. But here we go. I mean, someone got to win tonight. And both these teams have been struggling. Rangers 2-8 in their last 10. The Sabres 3-4-3. You can do all that magic. The bottom line is they've lost 7 games in a row, no matter how they lost them. They blew a lead against the Red Wings, lost. I believe it was in a shootout on Monday night. So they're trying to get back on the right track. These teams are kind of scrambling to maybe get in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. I mean, the Rangers we had penciled in, they're definitely in. And now it's been a struggle. They've traded their captain. Who knows if they're going to try to trade anybody else. And they go into Buffalo tonight. And the Buffalo Sabres, by the way, went to MSG about a month ago and kicked the living daylights out of the Rangers. I think it was 6-1. So it's going to be interesting tonight. Both teams really desperate for a win. When you look at this and you see, is one more desperate than the other?
No, they're both desperate.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rangers, because of their great start, they've got a little bit of a cushion.
Little cushion.
But they're spiraling downward. Like this is a full-on, like they're going straight down the hill. They've got to find a way to stop this. We thought it was against the Blackhawks. Blackhawks are coming to town. Oh no, but the Blackhawks were number 32 in the league. You're playing number 32. You should have a chance.
Yeah.
You know, in your own building, and they didn't. They laid multiple eggs. They were not good. Congratulations, Chicago, in that game. But the Blackhawks, or for the Rangers, that was a game I thought, okay, they're going to turn this around. They're going to get some offense. They're going to get a little jump. The guys are going to, find their mojo again.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. And Buffalo's a better team than Chicago.
Like I said,
and this isn't going to be an easy win because this is the last game of a 5-game homestand for the Sabres. They haven't won a game. This could be record-setting for not winning a game in a 5-game homestand for the Buffalo Sabres. Wow. Their fans are calling for the fire of the GM. They're chanting. I mean, it's ugly. Both of these teams are in a bad situation. And Lindy Ruff just told his guys, now don't even show up to the rink for practice this morning. We'll see you at the game. Bring it to the game. So this should be a very, very exciting game. I think that both teams are desperate to turn things around.
There it is. Lindy said Mattias Samuelsson will be available to play tonight for the Sabres. That's good. And he just said he canceled the skate. He wants them to save everything they got for tonight. That does seem like desperate times call for desperate measures.
Well, you've got to change things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Change things up a little bit, and get guys out of routine. If you're in a routine, you're losing. Change the routine. Yeah. So that's what Lindy's doing. Samuelsson will be good defensively for this team. But it's not the defense. They're only averaging 3 goals against. The Rangers are up to 4 goals against. That's a big problem. Yeah. The Sabres aren't scoring enough goals. They're not finding enough offense. So, but both teams are desperate. I think the first period should be a very high tempo, push the pace, and I think both teams be happy to score a bunch of goals in the first period. But somebody's got to take charge of this game, and if you're both doing it, it should make for an interesting.
I want to pick out something here for the Sabres because they're 30th on the power play. Now I got to do their first 2 games with Kevin Weeks over in Prague against the Devils. We watched them practice, watched the 2 games. I thought their power play was terrible. I really did. I just said this power. Now the Devils penalty coach did a nice job in the game, but just even watching them practice, they weren't snapping it, right?
Yeah.
And I think of the players. I think of the guys they have there: Dahlin, Thompson. They got a number of good offensive pieces. Why can't they be better than 30th in the league on the power play? I mean, and I saw it right from opening night.
Because they've had bad habits for how many years now? And this is where Lindy is brought in as a veteran coach, and he's even said that I'm kind of paraphrasing, but we're not a good team at making passes. We're not a good team at playing a skill game, and they've got to find a way to be better at that. And that's where the coaches. It's like, I can remember in junior, we used to do passing drills.
Yeah.
In junior. And then in pro, you do a little higher elevated passing drills, but you're still working on your passing. Yeah. You're still working on your one-timers. You're still working on the basics of the game.
Execution.
Exactly. But you have to practice that. You have to work on it. And if you don't, how are you going to expect to get out there in a power play and start zipping the puck around when you can't make that tape to tape, zip the pass around when there's nobody between you?
Yep.
And for Buffalo, they've struggled for years with their execution and their skill. Yeah, everybody says they've got skill, but do they have skill? Well, we're going to find out. And Lindy's a good coach. And if they can't get it done for Lindy Ruff, then you've got to start looking at the sum of this team. It's like, all right, maybe we're not as skilled as we thought we were, as everybody told us we were. And that's going to be a big issue for the Buffalo Sabres. The fans don't want to hear it because it's like they thought they're going to turn the page, that we should be pushing for the playoffs. Yeah. But they're not showing it at all.
Day.
It is, yes. Yeah, well, it's worse than that.
Yeah, and the Sabres on the power play, 1 for their last 24 on the power play. So you got to take advantage when you have those kind of opportunities. We got some sad news today to report from the National Hockey League. The Seattle Kraken put out this tweet earlier in the day. It is with great sadness that we announced the passing of David Bonderman, the founding owner of the Seattle Kraken, a visionary leader. David helped bring the NHL's 32nd franchise to Seattle. His contributions to business, conservation, music, and sports will be long remembered. And then this note from the commissioner, Gary Bettman: David Bonderman lived a life that was astounding in its breadth of achievement, unflinching in its commitment to excellence, and relentless in its passion for improving lives. In 2018, he brought NHL hockey to the Pacific Northwest. Adding David to the board and the Seattle franchise to the NHL made our league and our game stronger, setting new standards in environmental responsibility and diversity and inclusion. The National Hockey League celebrates David Bonderman's remarkable life and mourns his passing. We send our deepest condolences to his 5 children, 3 grandchildren, and the entire Seattle Kraken organization. David Bonderman was 82. Break up the Kings. They are rolling right now, Dave Reed. Look at this, 6 wins in a row. They're starting a 7-game road trip. They started that last night on Long Island against the Islanders. They got a 3-1 victory there to push that streak to 6 in a row. 3.5 goals per game, giving up almost nothing. Power play, very nice, 25%, solid. LA Kings sitting second place in the Pacific Division right now. It's been a really good start for the Kings, and a little bit surprisingly so. They had some goaltending injury issues, and here they are.
Without Drew Doughty.
Yeah, there you go.
That could be the toughest thing, is to lose your number 1 defenseman who's still an offensive catalyst on the power play, can control the pace of play, and they are absolutely rolling.
Yeah.
And the way they're doing it on defense. And again, you look at Anze Kopitar, who was he 36?
He's into the late 30s now. Just played his 1400th game not too long
Alex
ago.
Ferrier is having a tremendous year.
Young kid,
Adrian Kempe, beautiful goal in yesterday's game. They're watching them against the Islanders. They play a solid game without the puck. They keep everything to the outside, and their stats from Sports Logic are incredibly good. Number 1 at least amount of slot shots allowed. Number 1 in least amount of rush chances allowed. These are all per game. Like
Look at this.
This is remarkable. And you're saying, well, why are they playing so well? This is a team game. When you are expected goals against 2.49, that shows your goals, your goaltending is excellent. But it's the shots allowed. When you are good in your shots allowed, slot shots, your rush chances, your rebound chances, that's not goaltending. That's team play. Team play, not allowing rush chances. That means you're owning the neutral zone. Teams that own the neutral zone and control the neutral zone control the pace of play. And when you control the pace of play, you're forcing the opposition to play your game. And that's what Los Angeles has been so good at this year. And they slow the game down to their pace. They don't play a slow game. They slow it to their pace. If they want to play fast, they'll play fast. It's very difficult to get to the inside on this team. And that's where they're not giving up the rebound chances. And when they are giving up chances, their goaltenders have played very well. They don't have to be playing out of this world, but they're playing very well. So as a team, you give Jim Hiller credit. This team is on a roll. I call it they're on their Christmas shopping. They're on their shopping
7-game trip
here in the East. So they brought the extra bags to go home with all the Christmas presents, and they're just right now.
There it is.
They're looking to load it up with some W's. I mean, they're going in New Jersey. New Jersey has lost 2 in a row at home, even though they should have beat the Leafs. But that's going to be a very good game, a very fast-paced game. The Rangers, that's a struggling team. Pittsburgh just got hammered by Colorado. They turned things around. Philadelphia can be hot and cold, and Nashville is struggling. So, this is a legit opportunity on a 7-game trip. You could say, we could win 4 of these games, which is above 500, which is what you want. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if they won 5 games the way they're playing. They're on a roll. They're playing extremely well. And when your power play's clicking and all your defensive metrics are looking that strong, you're tough. You're a tough team to play.
Yeah, and that Saturday game against Nashville, the last game of their road trip, we'll have it right here on the NHL Network, part of the NHL Showcase package, the Saturday afternoon game in Nashville. So I'm looking forward to that. With LA2, we talked about these under the radar kind of signings. They signed Joel Edmondson, right? And they paid him a pretty good amount of money for where he's at in his career. But he's one of those guys that helps you defend well. They already have Gavrikov there, helps you defend well. Mikey Anderson has developed into a really good two-way, but more of a defensive guy. I mean, they've got some good performers on there that are playing up to the level that they had hoped for. And David Rittich came in when Kemper was hurt. Played great. Kemper's back. He's come in and played well. I mean, everybody is kind of playing to the level that Jim Hiller and that group expects.
And Brant Clark.
Yeah.
Playing
really excited about him.
Extremely well. I mean, he's putting up points. He's a plus player.
Yep.
He's fit in extremely well. And Drew Doughty, when's Drew Doughty? Drew Doughty coming back?
Probably sometime after the new year, I would imagine.
Early January?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Are you going to be able to play him? Are you going to be able to fit him in the lineup?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you'll.
That's the best thing about it right now. I'm sure that LA and the coaching and everybody, management's like, all right, they're not going to say it to anybody, but it's like, all right, we're losing our stud on the back. We're losing guys playing, 20, 25 minutes a game, depending on, the type of game we're playing. All right, without Drew in the lineup, let's see if we can be a couple games over 500. Like definitely in the playoff picture. Not necessarily first in the Pacific or first in the conference, but we want to be close. So when Drew comes back, that's going to propel us into better things. Well, they're already at that point where they're in the better thing category.
Yeah.
And Drew Doughty's going to come in, and there's going to be no pressure on when Drew Doughty comes in to jump right back in after missing most of the season and say, all right, here you go. You've got to play your big minutes. You've got to do everything you've always done, as though you're in mid-season form, which you're not going to be. So this is a blessing in disguise for the Los Angeles Kings. And the confidence that this team is going to get moving forward, and as an older team, there's some older players, they're going to have a really good break in the Four Nations. It's going to be a good opportunity to kind of recharge, and they're going to be in a great position. I mean, we're still, almost 2 months away, month and a half away. We're a long ways away. But really like what's going on in Los Angeles, and I can't see them slowing down. They play a basic, hard team to play against style of play, and that's what they're built to do, and they're executing.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch as the season continues to unfold. Washington, LA made that big deal. Pierre-Luc Dubois and Darcy Kemper. In the end, both of those teams have really benefited. That's one of those trades that works out for both. We'll see if they can both continue to be running up the standings, but the Kings continue on the East Coast with the Devils on Thursday night. When we come back, it is time. It's time for Steve Kouleas to join us. He's got some thoughts on Shane Wright and all the other things going on around the National Hockey League. Kouleas next on First Shift.
From live play-by-play to your favorite game day anthems and the biggest sports podcasts in the world, the iHeartRadio app lets you take it all with you wherever you go. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Here's a quick look at the schedule for tonight. Sabres, Rangers, and the Ducks taking on the Senators. And with that, we'll bring in Steve Kouleas from NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM, the master of the discussion room for his weekly spot. And Steve, let's start with the BOG, the Board of Governors. They just had their meetings earlier in the week. You looked at some of the things that have come out of it. What are some of the takeaways for you?
Well, brilliant producing. How many games tonight? Two. That's why we go till June 24th. Reader, players are ready after Labor Day. Pitter patter, let's get at her. Let's start on if September 30th is a Saturday, everyone plays. We can go from October 1 till April 1 and play an entire schedule, start the playoffs in early April, be done in early June, June 5th, 7th, maybe up to the 10th. But getting done on the 24th, then the parade, then NHL awards, then the draft, then free agency. I even want the UFA day moved up to the 30th. like July 1st. We wouldn't do it if it was the 4th. So I think everything should just be moved up a bit. And the earlier we finish, it's better for the players. And I think the numbers, Reader, when the weather gets warm, even up here, people want to get outside.
I agree with you, Cool. I'm going to throw a little the kink in the armor here. All right, let's move the schedule up. Let's get rid of some of the exhibition games, and let's go to an 84-game schedule like I used to play. How about that? Is that going to make the season shorter? Yeah, but is it going to make the season shorter, throwing in a couple extra games, or are we just thinking it's going to look shorter?
I got the math, okay? The math. Remember,
of course you do.
I got 38% in grade 12 math, but luckily I still got into Ryerson to hockey broadcasting. But anyway, here's the thing. Teams play about 7 or 8 4-week games right now. 3 times 26 is 78. You can make up with 4 games per week to get to your 84 still, even with an all-star break. Now, not with a Olympic or a Four Nations break, but the math is there. The earlier we're done, I believe, is better for hockey-related revenues, and we're not crammed. Reader, EJ, do we want to be crammed in June, honestly?
No. We want to be done by June 1. Let's get it going. I love it, Cool. Keep that going. Keep pushing that. I like it.
I agree. The only thing I would say is for the person who goes to the game on a night-to-night basis, you go to the game, you're paying big money to go to these games. When you have a lot of games over the – I mean – are you getting the best product all the time when teams are playing 4 times a week?
Well, put it this way. In baseball, they play every day. Some players play every game all the time.
Whoa. Cool. Let's not compare baseball players and the athletic output to hockey players here.
They're still performing.
No offense to baseball players, but
it's a different kind of game. Different game.
They're still performing. We need to use September and October better is what I'm saying.
I agree. I agree on that one.
And and if my math means it's June 11th, not June 7th or 4th, and there's a few more days, I get that part and what the body can handle. But right now, I'm looking at it this way. We did it before and got done earlier. We don't need to start October 12th. We don't need to have these 0, 1, and 2 game nights. So that we're overspaced now, Reader.
Yeah,
Trust me, the days are there to be made up.
Let's push to June 6th, okay? Because 2001, it was June 9th was Game 7, the last game I ever played. In June 9th, 2001, that was Game 7 of a Stanley Cup final. And that was good. June 9th is good. Yeah. You're saying the 11th. Let's get it back to maybe the 5th or 6th. That would be even better.
Yeah, I can remember when the Islanders won their first cup, May 24th. So it's going even further back, but we'll see. There's a lot of things that involve with the schedule, but Cooley, I think I'm on board with that. I would like to see it end a little bit sooner. Let me ask you about the way we look at the outlook of these teams right now. We're into mid-December now, early into December, getting towards the Christmas holiday. Some teams, it looks like it's not going to be their year. Do you think that some of these teams just have to be straightforward here and start to think about the idea of maybe moving off some of the players they have?
I do, and those teams to me are like the Islanders, the Red Wings, and the Sabres. Craig Button taught me, our good friend, know your team. This is not the 99 Dallas Stars, right, Reader? These are teams. Look at their chances to make the playoffs. And the only reason these chances are as good, if you think these are good or really bad, is because the Rangers have won 2 of their last 10 games. Like, they're sputtering out of control, and that gives the Islanders are -1, Detroit's -2, Buffalo's -2. I want them to be bold and to honestly say, can you make a trade to save this season? So you get in the playoffs and what? Lose to the Devils or Florida in the first round? Now, maybe for Buffalo and Detroit, that would be good. That they honestly would take that right now. But for the Islanders, this ain't working, man. So maybe if it's a Horvat first-line center for him to a Utah, it's just delaying the process. And the underlying numbers for these teams are in the 20s, 22, 26, 28. It's not happening. Know your team. It might be time to worry about next year for these teams not squeaking in this year. They're in no man's land, guys.
I agree with you, but when you have Ilya Sorokin or you've got Varlamov, they might be able to win around. Cool. I mean, if you're the Islanders,
a lot of money.
You got a couple of guys out that get Barzal back.
A lot of tickets to sell between now and the end of the year.
You know what? It's if they can get another scorer in there, they've got goaltending. I can't say the same about Buffalo or the Red Wings, but I can say that about the Islanders. They've got goaltending. If you've got goaltending, you've got a chance. I don't know about
a chance. A chance for what? What's realistic
Come on,
here?
hey, cool. We all know there's an elite group of teams in the league that have a real chance of winning. Then there's a group of teams that are knocking on the door, and then there's a group of teams that are just trying to get in. But if you're one of those teams that's knocking on the door, or you're on the bottom set of that teams that's knocking on the door, you want to get in because you want to give your guys the experience. If you don't have playoff experience, how many times do you get deep in the playoffs? These guys have never been there. They need guys that have won. They need guys who have been there. You've got to have playoff experience, whether it's a round or 2 rounds, let alone the money that you're making for your team and your ownership group. But it's experience that you need to get, and you need to do it as a group if you want to have young guys come in. Hey, these guys have been there a couple of times. They've been to a couple of playoff rounds. They've won a playoff round. And, you're in the Toronto area. Let's talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. How nice would it have been for that team to win a couple of rounds so guys could actually say, hey, we know what it's like. Let's push past that. I think it's huge to get in the playoffs, to get a couple of rounds experience for players to grow and to develop. So, and if you got goaltending like the Islanders do, there's always a chance.
All right, let's get to one more topic, Cooley, because we could probably go around in circles on that one. Let's get to one more. I got to do the Kraken and Ranger game for NHL Network on Sunday, and Shane Wright had another good game. I watched him last night in the game against Florida. He was buzzing around in overtime. It seems like he's kind of found his way after he got a healthy scratch for a couple of games. He sat with Ronnie Francis. That probably did him a world of good, but he looks like a different player right now. You like the fact that they've taken their time a little bit here with Shane Wright.
Yeah, and it's a great story because I was at his first OHL game that he scored in Oshawa against Kingston. It was a beauty. Craig Button said he's going to be great. He was hurt more than others in his age group by missing an entire season due to COVID. And the way Ron Francis and the franchise slow played this, I think last year in the AHL was critical for his development. You mentioned up with Francis and the healthy scratch. Going into last night, he had 9 goals in his last 8 games, goals in 3 in a row. But it's not just that. He's a different player. This is a guy at the NHL level that he kind of was at the AHL last year and what we saw in junior. His shot, his drive to the net, his passing, his ability in the circle. He was in on 4 goals the other night. He only got 2 points because he was like the 3rd assist. So he's getting it. And look, down the middle, Matty Beniers and Chandler Stevenson, they have 7 goals combined. And Wright has 7 by himself as he's just kind of found his groove in the NHL. So he is a third-line center right now, and that line is clicking. I think this is something to be very excited about. And, guys, he turns 21 in January. 21. Don't give up on these kids like Laffer. Look at Jack Hughes' first 2 years. He probably shouldn't have been in the NHL. Can I say one thing? If I text you and I don't answer right away, patience, kids. Patience for you kids out there.
Oh, I agree with you 100% on this. At 21 years old, I mean, you look at Juraj Slafkovsky, everybody thinks he's been doing so much. He's such a veteran player because he played in the Olympics. Young players, it takes a while to step in and understand the pro game. And you're bang on. When Shane Wright missed a full season in the CHL and in junior, that's a huge time for his development that just didn't happen. So Seattle's doing it right. I think Shane Wright's going to be a heck of a player, and you're going to have him for a long time. You look at Joe Thornton when he came in the National Hockey League. Everybody's like, is this guy even going to be able to play? He struggled so much. He hardly played. And I think you're bang on. Seattle is handling Shane Wright extremely well. He's going to have a great career. He's going to be a very good, solid player.
Glad to see that that he's kind of moving in that right direction. Now, he's played very, very well over the last several games. Cooley, any predictions before I let you go?
Well, tonight we got a big one. We got the Sabres and the Rangers.
Yes.
Someone has to win. So into my crystal ball, I say the Buffalo Sabres beat the New York Rangers. Where's that? There we go.
Yeah.
Sabres over the Rangers tonight. Oh, I won't want to read the New York Post tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, we'll file that one away. I think Buffalo already beat the Rangers once this year, so maybe they'll do it again on home ice in Buffalo. Cooley, thanks for the time, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, Steve Kouleas. Last night got a little nasty there in Winnipeg. The Jets and the Bruins. Jets won on the ice. Bruins got a little nasty, but got a game of First Word coming up next. Get ready, reader. We got a lot happening last night. First Word on First Shift. Next. Little First Word. JD, come on in now. Come on in.
Nothing like a little Wednesday edition of First Word. We're running out of time in the show, so let's get right to it. EJ, coming to you first.
All right.
you know how to play the game. You can show Reader what's up here. So first word to describe Sasha Barkov shootout goal. Hit me with that video, Mr. Bell. Yeah. This thing was really good. I won't give you my word for it. But EJ, first word.
Yeah, he fakes the between the legs, and then poor Joey Daccord is looking for his gloves, the rest of his equipment. I'm going to say filthy. That is filthy by Barkov. Reader.
I don't know if it's a real word, but can you say Datsukish?
I will hold it. Where's the little ding, like a password? We accept that.
You know, like it's in the hockey dictionary of that's Datsukish when Datsuk came down and did the little fake and chipped it over and that's Datsukish. I'm going between the legs. No, I'm not. That's Datsukish.
All right, I think we
Hall of Famer.
We are in agreement. That was something special. All right. JD.
All right, here we go. Last night I was dialed in watching the Bruins get the wheels beaten off them in Winnipeg, but some nastiness in the third period. Trent Frederic fought David Gustafsson. Gustafsson not known as a fighter. Reader, you first. First word to describe this.
Well, I'm going to keep it in for family. Ridiculous. I've got other words, but ridiculous. Off the face-off, Gustafsson, that's his first fight in the National Hockey League. Trent Frederic is a tough enough player. And to go after a player right off the face-off, cross-checking him, trying to chase him down and go to him into that, there are certain players, even if Gustafsson chased Frederic around, and I can see why Arne Neal's ticked off. If Gustafsson's chasing Frederic around saying, let's go, Frederic, no, you're not a fighter. I'm not fighting you. You know what? Send out Adam Lowry. I'll fight Lowry. That's, to me, it's ridiculous. Why Trent Frederic even goes after him? It's like, find someone else on the ice that's going to actually give you a real fight. But to go after a guy and who isn't a fighter and to chase him down, cross-check him, and he wanted no part of the fight, to me, it's ridiculous. Trent Frederic is better than that.
All right. Well,
sorry, too many words.
You were revved up there. I would just say, first of all, good for David Gustafsson for standing up for himself. I mean, it was a tough situation. I'm going to just say mismatch. I mean, it's a mismatch, to your point. I mean, it's not a fight that should take place. Hopefully, David Gustafsson is all right. They had a couple more fights later in that game, and on the scoreboard, the Jets did beat the daylights out of the Boston Bruins in that one. So there you go, JD. One more.
EJ, I do follow you on the app formerly known as Twitter, and you put out a pretty good one. It was a retweet, so we give David Filipovich some credit here.
Yeah,
but check out these numbers. Quinn Hughes, we all know, reigning Norris Trophy winner, he's excellent. But these stats against the Blues, incredible. This is team stats with and without Quinn Hughes on the ice. So with them, you can see it, like left-hand column, domination. Without Quinn Hughes on the ice, they're not doing much of anything.
No.
So, EJ,
what's
the first word to describe Quinn Hughes'
impact? The first word for me is mind-boggling, really. I mean, the numbers are just such an unbelievable difference. But it's a reminder, and you played with a lot of great players, Reader, and you were on great teams. You won 2 Stanley Cups, of the impact of great players on a game. And, boy, that's impact right there.
Sensational. That's
your word?
That's my word, because he is sensational. He is so good. He is so important to this team. The stats. I mean, that game alone, it's like that's a fantastic game. So I look for a word that we don't use a lot, and sensational is a word that we don't use a lot, because those numbers. It'd be interesting to see if those numbers are kept throughout the year, to see if someone ever gets close to that. Wow. I can't imagine. That there being other games where it's that impactful.
It just shows you where the Canucks are at. Like, Hronek is out, right? They got some other injuries. Miller is out, with a personal thing. Looks like he's going to be coming back soon, but they've got some injuries there. So the impact that Quinn Hughes has is even more dramatic in these circumstances. But wow, what a performance! And they end up getting a point in that game. I would say in large part to the play of Quinn Hughes. So JD, with that, you're the host of this segment. Take us to break.
Ooh, I love it. EJ, you produce. I'll take us to break.
Right.
Coming up on NHL Tonight.
Put up the video.
I got a word for you. How about great? How about another word? Reunion. A familiar face joined Alex Ovechkin on the ice at practice earlier today. More when First Shift returns.
Got a little news from D.C. Look who it is, Alex Ovechkin, who's been out with a leg injury and practice. And look who's giving him the pucks there. Nicholas Backstrom, his old running mate.
They don't have room for Nicholas Backstrom on that team. That's awesome. Love it. That's great. These two guys are magic. Yeah. Like, absolutely magic. Yeah. Not only on the ice, but in the commercials.
Yes, that's right. Good. They were.
Yeah, that's fun to see. Great to see Ovi back on the ice.
Getting closer.
He's got to still be a couple weeks, though.
Getting closer.
Just after Christmas, maybe?
Maybe. He's getting closer. They play.
As long as they keep winning.
The first place Capitals. They are first place in the Metropolitan Division, and they want to be under the radar. But I got to tell you, when you're in first place, you're not under the radar anymore, guys. Sorry.
Nick
You're
Backstrom.
A story.
Nick Backstrom, a Hall of Famer?
He's pretty close. Yeah, I mean, he's got a cup. He's had international play. I mean, I would think he's very close if he's not.
He's kind of like he reminds me of an Adam Oates type of player.
Yeah.
Great passer.
Yeah.
Yeah, great passer.
And his career, unfortunately, cut short here by the fact that he's had an injury. Got another little note from the Washington Capitals as well. This is from Tom Galiti, who covers the team for NHL.com. Tom Wilson says he has a small fracture of a bone in the sinus cavity area, and the doctor wants him to wear a full shield for 4 weeks. But he expects to be able to play in Columbus tomorrow night. And he did. He got hit with a puck against the Canadiens. You can see in this game on Saturday night. But he stayed in the game. Ow. And look at, oh, my goodness. But he stayed in the game, and he ended up being the difference, getting a goal and an assist down the stretch. And the Capitals just keep rolling, especially on the road.
Yeah, and I remember watching the interview after the post-game interview, and I'm thinking it was kind of an angle, and you could kind of see the side, and it looked like his face. So I'm thinking, did he put a chew in? You know, did he put a chew in after the game? And then you saw him turn, and it was like, oh my gosh! And then I'm, seen enough injuries that realize that's a little more serious than just a little bruise. And yes, I like the way it says the doctor recommends you wear a full face shield. Yeah, not well, but that's the toughness of Tom Wilson. I mean, first of all, my question is, how's the puck? Did they have to replace the puck?
The puck was unfortunately
the puck was broken in half.
Had to be replaced. But Tom, hope you're feeling okay. Yeah. He's not going to miss any time. Capitals 11-2 on the road this year. We are out of time, Reader. Coming up on NHL Now, Alex Laferriere and Brant Clark from the LA Kings will be in studio. Stay tuned for that. We'll see you tomorrow.